Alright, hello Cameron, welcome back to the channel. This of course is another anime reaction video, but not just any anime reaction video. This one is a special one. As you can already probably tell, we're doing 6 episodes this time, which is just an insane amount to me. Like, I know some other people do it. Well, I can only think of one person on YouTube who does that many episodes in a single video, but if you didn't know, which I don't know why you would know because I've never mentioned it before, but today is my birthday. Unless I am putting this up later than I hope to. Is it still April 10th when this is up? Who knows? Anyway, it's my 20th birthday, and while it's not a specifically like, well, I haven't actually been doing this whole anime reacting thing for very long, just like the past few months. I just thought I'd do something just a little bit special for a day like this, you know? So don't expect this to become the norm, because I already fucking know, like, I don't think I'll ever do this ever again. Maybe I will, like, way in the future, but I'm gonna say right now, please like the video and subscribe, because I already know it's gonna be a bitch to make this whole thing, specifically the rendering, because for me at least, rendering is basically like a one-to-one thing. If the video is an hour long, it'll take about an hour to render in Premiere Pro. So 6 episodes, that's gonna be what, like almost 3 hours? Jeez. That's not even including the YouTube portion where I actually have the discussions and reviews of the episodes. That'll probably be another like half an hour unto itself. But either way, this is something that I'm really excited to get into. Obviously more Gintama. So make sure you get a snack before watching these. Make sure you pace yourself as well, because I know it's going to be long. I'm going to be pacing myself. I can't do this all in one day, which is why I'm recording this so in advance. It's only the 4th of April right now. But without further ado, let's just start this this special reaction. As always, you will find the links to the uncut reactions in the description below, either on Pixel Drain or BitChute. Although I'm actually kind of not so sure about Pixel Drain. This might, I don't think it will, but in the event that it does go over the 5 GB limit on Pixel Drain for free accounts, it should be available on BitChute as long as processing doesn't take forever, which it probably will, because this is 3 hours. I'm talking too much. Let's get into the episode already. Episode, what is it? Episode 23, right? Yep. Episode 23. Episode 20. What are we going to be going to for doing 6 episodes? Let me look that up real quick. 29. Oh boy. Okay, so that was another really interesting episode. I'd say I'm so glad that we're getting back to it. I've loved the comedy in the episodes, like the comedy-focused episodes, like especially the last 2 episodes. Those were some of my favorite episodes so far, purely because they were just so funny to me. But this episode was really interesting because we got introduced to yet another new character who will be like integral to, I guess, the development of the series, and we get to look a little bit more into Gintoki, which is definitely like solidifying his position in my mind as the dad of the show. And I love that sort of schism, I guess you could call it, between Gintoki's like normal reckless personality. I hate when that happens. I don't know why, but if I pause too many times or something, VLC will just freeze the video, which is just so annoying. I need to like look into that so it can stop doing that, or like look into like a different video player or something, because VLC is pretty good IMO, but I think it's jumping around the episode. But yeah, so the schism between Gintoki's normal like devil may care attitude and his sort of, and when things like when the chips are down, I guess, when things are serious, how he like goes into dad mode and he's like super serious, and he's like, I don't know if philosophical is the right word for it, but he's got these things where he's like, he says stuff that's really like impactful and deep and emotional, which is really interesting. And I'm kind of fascinated by the character of Sakamoto. So first of all, he's still like a mystery to me. He's really interesting, and while they did give some like insights to his backstory, it's like there's still clearly more than I need explained to me. I don't know if I just missed it or if it's explanations that'll be coming in down the line as the series goes on. But even if we never find out who the dude inside the Elizabeth costume is, I don't really care. I just want to know why. Why did Sakamoto give Katsura Elizabeth? And I'm also kind of curious. I don't know if that was just like a way of showing it and it's not specific, but that shot when Sakamoto was like, "Oh, I recognize you," and it showed Gintoki running like that. Is that like a similar? We just haven't seen like the full situation, the full context of that. But was there a situation in their past where Gintoki was dragging Sakamoto by his hair, like he is now, and we just haven't seen it yet? This is just like little bits of their backstory, but not the full thing yet. That's what I'm curious about, and that's what I'm hope we're gonna find out in the future, or unless I'm just thinking too deep into it. But another reason why I'm so fascinated by Sakamoto is he's not like, at least unless I'm again not fully like understanding things as well as I could be. But he seems like maybe not the most normal out of the group of people that we know in the like the group of people that were a part of the war against the Amantos. Like, because from the ones we've seen, most of them are in some way deeply like affected by the war. And while he's definitely seemingly been affected by it because he's sick of seeing his friends die, and that's got to be really traumatic, he also decided to get out of it way sooner than like a lot of people that so far we've seen got out of it, basically. So that's really interesting. And I'm curious, like, what exactly it was. Unless that was his like personality the whole time. It seemed like his personality was slightly different in the flashbacks to what it is now, or at least his like mannerisms and how he goes about like things. But I feel like I'm going off the rails and not keeping like a single thing, like a single like idea, like keeping track of a single idea. But like because so far we've gotten like a lot of different perspectives on like the horrors of war, basically, and like how war and being a part of war has affected different people. Gintoki is deeply affected by it, and he's trying to move on and have a different life. Katsura is still like I guess holding like a grudge or something, and he still wants to keep fighting, basically. Takasugi, he's kind of lost it from what I remember, because it was been a while ago since we've seen him. And then there was also, I've forgotten his name already, but the robot guy. When Takasugi was originally introduced, he was affected by it, but in a different way than they were by the war. So, just all these different perspectives on how this war has affected so many different people in so many different ways has been super interesting to watch, and I think that's something that I really appreciate about Gintama right now, because while it is a lot of comedy, like a lot of comedy that's generally not super connected into this super like overarching narrative, there are little hints of the sort of deeper sort of elements of this story, and it's been really interesting to watch it. And it's also really cool to see how like the author Sorachi, I believe, how they weave all of these elements together, this comedy mixed with this like a war thing. I'm not sure if I'm articulating my thoughts very well, but the point is this is really good. And what I love about this early Gintama so far is, while it is really funny and I'm loving all the comedy, it's got hints at things being more than what they seem. I'm trying to think if that's exactly how I wanted to say it. It's definitely not, but I'm trying my best here, okay? It's like it's mostly comedy, but you can see that comedy is not all there is to offer. There are little sprinkles here and there. So even if I didn't like the comedy as much as I do, I'd probably want to stick around, just because there's these little nuggets of something more serious going on, and how the series will get more serious, at least a bit more serious in certain arcs later on, that are really intriguing to me. Alright, like I said in the ED, that was an interesting episode, really simple, like a heartwarming episode that touched on a topic that I honestly didn't expect a show like Gintama to go over. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites. I feel like I didn't speak very much during this episode, and if I didn't, I kind of apologize. I think it was a solid episode. So far, I don't think there was a bad episode in Gintama, but it was a very solid episode. Yeah. It's really interesting. I like how we also got to... So we're getting more characters that were a part of the war against the Amantos. So far, I'd have to say that he's probably the least interesting. I still think that's like one of the best parts of Gintama right now, is how they have lots of stuff in the background and they're slowly showing us more and more, while also just like generally giving us a lot of comedy to keep us entertained. But so far, out of all of the characters we've seen from the war, obviously I do want to see more of this character in flashbacks, especially the relationship between Katsuda and Gintoki as their mentor, because I think that's what they mentioned. So it'll be really interesting to see if that gets expanded on more, because he seemed like he was pretty important, or at least from the flashback, because he went on to an Amanto ship by himself and with just the fucking white thong and beat the shit out of everyone. I don't think I have much else to say for this episode. It's definitely... Every episode of Gintama, I think, is good. But IMO, kind of one of the weaker episodes. I just wasn't feeling it as much. It's got good aspects to it, but who knows. But real quick, I do want to look up something, because I'm curious if... Because I don't think I've ever looked up Katsuda's voice actor. There are some voice actors that I recognize in Gintama, but I feel like I might know. Okay, I don't think it's who I was originally thinking it was from earlier in this episode, but I'm still curious to see if he plays anyone I recognize. Oh, hold on a second. I'm just scrolling through the page on Mal. He played Kaworu in Evangelion. I don't even remember what Kaworu sounds like, because it's been so long since I've watched anything Evangelion related. I need to rewatch the first 3 Rebuild movies before I eventually watch the latest Evangelion movie. He played, is that Cancer? Yeah, that's Cancer Cell from Cells at Work. That was a good, like, out of context quote. Is that Cancer? But what else? There isn't much, actually. For some reason, I thought he sounded like Sasuke and Uryu from Bleach. Sasuke from Naruto, Uryu from Bleach. But he also plays Gaara in Naruto. So, I guess I'm just fucking wrong. He played the main character in Persona 3, the Persona 3 animes. Okay. Yeah, no, it wasn't as recognizable as I thought he would be. But, god damn, dude, I feel like fucking Gintoki in episode 21. It's so warm in my room. I hope it doesn't get, like, super bad as we start getting more into summer. As you can see, I'm not wearing a fucking jacket now because it's just really warm in my room. Obviously not hot enough to make me take this off. I am taking precautions. I'm not even wearing pants, which I don't even know I would tell you that, because as far as you guys know, I don't even have legs. But I do got some gamer juice here, otherwise known as a plain water, in case I start to get dehydrated while doing this, because it's fucking hot in my room. It's way hotter than it should be, and I hate it. But let's just fucking... What episode even is this? I don't even know. It's 25, I think. I'm trying a new video player now. Pot player, I think it's called. Instead of VLC. Let's just get into the episode. Alright, so... I loved that episode. As much as I loved that episode, I know it was mentioned to me before that Gintama, being a less popular series... being from 2006 and it being less popular than other anime that was airing at the time, this episode probably had the least amount of animation in it compared to like pretty much every other episode that came before it. I think the only spot that really had like superb, like, or like above average animation was Otose and Catherine beating the shit out of everyone else for the food. That animation was fucking beautiful. The way they did the slow motion. Other than that, I can see how it would be considered low budget, this show, because there was a lot of still images, and a lot of the camp comedy came from the voice work, and like how they would have occasional like super intense faces. But as this being like one huge Death Note reference, Death Note isn't even one of my favorite animes. It's a great anime, but I loved I loved how this whole episode was just one huge Death Note reference with like references to like occasional other things. I think this is probably the most reference heavy episodes we've gotten so far, because there was a reference to like an actress. There's like reference to like animes as a whole, where they have like, they'll sometimes have recap episodes for long running series, and like 5 minutes at the beginning to recap the last few episodes. And then there's a reference to Naruto, what I think was a reference to Bleach. Actually, it might not be, because I don't remember when that happened at least in the manga, when Aizen revealed the whole truth or whatever. So maybe that wasn't a Bleach reference, where she was maybe that was just like a continued Death Note reference, where Kagura was like, from the very beginning I was fooled or whatever. But man, I need to go look up real quick. I need to look up gameplay of the Gintama DS game. Gintama Games Evolution 2006. I just need the DS game. Yoru Daiso Do. Excuse me. Here, hold on. I'll even show it here. I probably won't get copy strikes for this, will I? What's the game like? Kind of visual novel bit to it. Okay, we're just doing like visual novel stuff. What's the actual gameplay like? Oh. I like the artwork. Cute little characters down there. Ah. Interesting. So they're going somewhere. What the fuck is the actual gameplay, though? Like, what do you do? Oh, hold on. I missed it. Oh. It looks like it might be, like, a fun little thing if you're a fan of Gintama, but maybe not something that, like, you'll like if you don't care for Gintama. So that's really interesting, though, that it had a game at all. I don't even know, like, if anything, like, what kind of game would work for Gintama that would, like, take advantage of, like, the main draw of Gintama, at least for me right now, and that being, like, the great comedy. Like, the best I can think of is either, like, a super over-the-top hack and slash game. Excuse me. Or maybe like a turn-based RPG where the main draw of it isn't necessarily the gameplay, but it's like the good writing and, you know, voice acting and shit. Like, what I'm imagining is like Undertale or something like that. But either way, that was another fucking great episode. Lots of great comedy. I'm curious what the next episode is going to be about. So we got a new OP, new ED. Next episode, I have no idea what next episode is going to be like. I never know what next episode is going to be like. I don't even know why I'm trying to speculate. Let's just get to the next episode. Episode 26. I wonder. I wonder. What was I saying? I wonder if Asian Kung Fu Generation is going to be doing any music. Oh, camera's blacked out. Oopsie. All right. I really liked. Again, I'll probably be like corrected for this in the comments by somebody, but I can't remember the last time Shinpachi was like the driving force behind the plot of an episode, except for very early on in Gintama, like the first episode 3, that would be when we were first introduced to basically everything. And after that, I can't recall. It was either like it's usually outside forces which influence like the whole story of that episode. Maybe Gintoki gets involved with it, but usually it starts because of somebody dragging one or multiple members of Yoroyuza into something. And this is kind of the first time, at least in a while from my memory, that Shinpachi's like, he notices something and he's like, all right, I'm going to go do something about it. And that's how the plot of the episode happened. So that was really enjoyable. And it wasn't like a huge bit of backstory, like as a whole. But seeing more of Shinpachi's past was nice. I wonder if we're going to see the Takachin more often as the series goes on. Regardless, I do hope we see more of Shinpachi stuff, because he's what, the second youngest member of Yoroyuza, so he's really interesting. And I wonder if we'll meet more members of the Otsu fan club that he's a part of, that he's like the leader of or whatever, the captain. Because I believe there were some like interesting looking characters when during Otsu's like introduction episode with the father and whatnot. So, and they brought back the Otsu fan club as like a thing for this episode. And next episode, it looks like it's gonna be including Otsu, who's gonna be boxing, I guess. Kagura's probably gonna get involved in that as well. Probably gonna be doing some fighting, if it's like a fighting tournament. It looked like there was a ring, and it looked like Sogo was watching in the crowd, which will be interesting. The Otsu fan club are there. Oh, and Takachin joined. Of course he did. They mentioned that, didn't they? Alright. You know what? From that frame of Sogo... Oops. From that frame of Sogo, it kind of looks like he's going to be like a personal trainer or something. Because he's got on like... Maybe not. He seems like he's a bit further back in the crowd, but he looks like he's cheering. So I'm curious how he's going to be a part of that. But let's get into the next episode. Episode 27. And then after that should be 28. And that'll be 6 episodes in one video. It's crazy, right? Alright, camera. New shirt, new day, new me. It's still hot as hell in my room right now. And it might even be a little bit hotter than before, because of course I'm still not wearing a jacket and not wearing pants. And I don't know if you can hear it, but the ceiling fan in my room is just a little bit louder than usual. I turned it up, not to its max, but it's like it's a little bit faster. The door I usually have closed in my room is open, so hopefully there's better circulation and shouldn't have too many interruptions while I'm recording these last 2 episodes in the 6 episode special for my Gintama reactions. But who knows at this point, honestly. I do have an idea for a little experiment I could do to help deal with the fact that it's so damn warm in the room that I'm recording these in. But I'll probably try that after this is over. I don't know how long it's gonna be between this and the next Gintama reaction, but in between this Gintama reaction and the next 2 episodes after this, I kind of want to try this experiment with a show that's coming out this season. Maybe like a couple. I'm thinking Zombieland Saga, Eden Zero maybe, and Godzilla SP. Maybe Yasuke. That seems interesting. But I'm getting way too out of this. We're going to get started with episode 27 here. As I was saying in the ED, I really like this episode. It's absolutely contender for my like absolute favorite episode of Gintama so far, just because it was I've really enjoyed the story of this dude, and it's like it was like a whole redemption arc condensed into a single episode. And like yeah, we don't really have a huge like there are some not really issues, but like some things that I like would have wanted to like be extended. Like if this was 2 episodes where they showed more of like the bad things that the Kidomaru did instead of just saying like I did bad things. You know, wink wink nudge nudge, I did bad things and now I'm good. It's like I still really enjoyed that whole like I'm trying to change myself for the better thing, but it kind of took it broke the show don't tell rule. I'm not gonna say that this is somehow bad because of it. Again, one of my favorite episodes so far. It's just like something I felt like mentioning, and I kind of appreciate how they up and killed him. As upsetting as that was, I first of all, it's so fitting, especially for the speech that Gintoki gave about how there's something in his body more precious than his heart. Like even if his heart stopped beating, as long as his soul remained unbroken, he could keep walking forward regardless. And the same thing is true of the of Kidomaru, because like he till the very end he was resolved to protect these kids and atone for being a murderer in the past. And to that end, Gintoki and Kagura and Shinpachi and Sogo and everybody else who got involved with getting revenge, basically, they were all extensions of Kidomaru's soul, and in a way, through them, he could still keep walking forward even through death and break out of that whole underground death tournament shit and let these kids I don't know, live because we didn't actually see what happened to the kids, but what I was wondering, I didn't mention it. It's because when they came into Yodoyuza, I don't know if Sogo just told them wherever they are, like at an orphanage or something, that they shouldn't show up to Yodoyuza and ask for them to get revenge or anything. But in my head, like my headcanon of what's going on is that they're at some like foster home or like an orphanage, and Sogo, like after this episode, like frequently visits them just to like play with them and see how they're doing or whatever, or something along those lines. I like my headcanon is that very frequently, like the cast that like really care about these kids go and visit the kids, you know, and that's part of part of when Sogo would have told them to not come over here. I also mentioned it while watching this episode, but even with the limited animation, I think they did like a great job executing. I don't think it's perfect. Like I think my favorite example of like perfect execution in an anime is Kaguya-sama Love is War. They just like they nail all of the execution and like the presentation of the jokes. But for the emotional scenes for this episode, they did it so well in Gintama despite like the limited animation. And I just love it so much. Like honestly, I don't like I'm sure they could have made the fight with like better animation and get more hype for the fight, but like the emotional payoff for this episode and like the emotions in the episode, I feel were a lot stronger and would regardless outshine any animation. I think they did a great job with what they had. I don't think it would have been necessary to like over animate the fight to make it like an impactful moment, at least for me. But I'm I'm already geared up for for episode 28 to like be like nowhere near like this level of serious. And speaking of serious, I forgot to mention it, but yeah, they introduced a fucking secret society puppeting things from the background, fucking Illuminati, the Patriots, the Lale Lulala, the fucking they introduced that. And Hichikita was the one. Hijikata, I think. I think I've been pronouncing it. Someone in the comments mentioned I've been pronouncing Hijikita for so long. It's Hijikata. I'm so sorry. I don't know where I got Hijikita from. But he mentions it to them, so he knows about it. So that makes me think we're 100% going to see this guy again. The this dude. We're 100% gonna see him again. And now that I think about it, they might be slowly setting up things so that once we get to like the first like serious, the first serious like arc, like story arc, where like, because I know there are some serious arcs at various points through Gintama, but I feel like this guy, they're setting up where all like the serious things in the background of some of these comedy episodes will all like come together at once, basically, and it'll be like this huge Chekhov's gun like payoff arc where basically what I was saying, everything built up until that point will like come together and there'll be this huge confrontation or something, including this dude, whoever the hell he is. It looks like he's got like green skin and green hair or something, but him, you know, all of Yoryuza, the Shinsengumi probably, Sachan, Katsura, probably Takasugi as well. Takasugi, yeah, probably him as well. He'll probably show up. I don't know exactly what would happen there to start that event, or what like would happen during that whole confrontation arc, so to speak, or how it would end. But if it does happen, I'm so excited for like whenever that like hopefully potentially happens, because that will be fucking amazing. Because Gintama, like the mangaka and like the anime staff, they can do serious moments for Gintama. They can do amazing like comedy moments, and they can do amazing serious moments. To see them go like all out on the serious would be really interesting, because we've seen them go all out on comedy. But I've been talking for probably too long. This is one episode. Remember what I said at the beginning? Pace yourself, because it's gonna be a lot, and I'm still dreading how long it's gonna be to render both of these videos, the YouTube and the uncut. But let's get into the last episode for this video, episode 28 of Gintama. That was a banger episode. I loved the comedy episode, and I don't think this is definitely not the first time that an episode has like sort of in a way continued the story of the last episode. Like, I absolutely remember the episode where Katsura was introduced with the whole bombing. Directly after that, with the episode with Otsu and her dad, it started off with them being interrogated for it. But I think this is the first time in Gintama where the main plot of a previous episode is continued in the main plot of the next episode. Like, the events of this episode directly continues what was happening in the last episode, and like it revolved around what was happening last episode. I think that's a first. Like, the majority of the episode, it was just them trying to get to where they needed to go, and it was just fucking filled with comedy. And those were some great comedy bits. I love that. Like I was mentioning that the show does a great job of like executing comedy, a pure comedy, and some serious scenes too. Like, they do a good job at executing those serious and comedy scenes. This is an example of them executing pure like comedy bits so well. And the serious bit in this episode was so interesting. I'm so excited to learn more, like, because I'm already like loving like pretty much every character, and I'm so interested in the world that I'm a little bit upset, but I'm a little excited. I'm definitely excited. I'm a little bit like upset that I'm stopping now, but honestly, maybe it's not too bad that I'm stopping this 6 episode special now, because next episode it looks like it's gonna be going back to like unconnected comedy episodes. Like, this might be like a Kagura centric comedy episode. Who knows? There might be more. But man, because I know it's gonna be a while before we get to like the full on serious arc. I think I don't know when. It might be a while. Might be sooner than I think. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited for more. That's basically all I can say about Gintama, is that everything is so great now, and I'm excited for more. What the fuck am I even... I'm like ranting. I'm rambling. I don't know what I'm saying. But Man. I said it before, I'll say it again, but I this is probably the most intelligent Kondo has been in this entire episode. He's playing the straight man this whole episode because everyone was going off the damn rails. I think the only times Kondo wasn't the smartest person on screen was when Tai and Shinpachi were there. When he pulled over, there were no assassins, but they thought there were assassins, and they needed to get to the castle or whatever, so they could receive potential punishment for interfering with Tendo Show's operations into the legally questionable. But he pulls over to flirt with a girl that is very violently said no. I mean, to be fair, like, I'm not an Otai simp. Like, I like her. She's pretty cool. I like how strong she is, and she's, like, really interesting just, like, generally as a character. Like, seeing her go about certain things, like, during the episode with, the underwear bandit, and, the episode, with the bikers, like, that was 2 episodes ago, right? 26? Those were fucking great. I loved her in those episodes. And so I'm very excited to see more of her. Like, early on, I thought she was kind of cute, but I didn't know if she was, like, really... I didn't really have anything else besides that. But now that she's, like, had more screen time, she's definitely, like, really, really great. I like her. I'm expecting great things, and hopefully those expectations will be met. Like, so far, pretty much every character is great. Like, I don't know. I think it's too early to say who the waifu of Gintama is. I'm sure you all have your opinion. But as of right now, being only, like, 28 episodes in... Shit, I'm actually having a tough time thinking about it. I thought I would have an easier time. I'm kind of leaning on Sachan because she's probably my favorite for comedy, and she does have potential to be pretty interesting because she used to be an assassin for the Bafuku. I forget which one is which, but that's speaking of which, I should probably look this up. Bakufu. Okay, Bakufu. Okay, and then she became freelance, so that's an interesting thing that she could potentially be down the line. But based on the information, I'm leaning that Otai is best girl because I like her so much. Because I've liked her the most because she's had the most screen time, and honestly, because I'm also thinking Otose is a pretty great girl, even though she is pretty old. I love her personality and her interactions with Gintoki. So it doesn't bother me that much, actually. Maybe it's because she's like stylized for anime. So that's why I say that. Okay, it looks like Tendoshu is like a exclusive to Gintama. I thought that might have been based on something in real life. Maybe it is. Maybe I just didn't do enough research. But the first thing that showed up when I looked up Tendoshu was a Gintama wiki page, so I'm not clicking on that. I'm not trying to get any fucking spoilers. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say about episode 28. Man, don't get used to these because I've had to spend 3 separate days to record all of the episodes for the 6-episode special, and I'm dreading the render times. This is going to be... and the upload times, too. Because... especially in BitChute and Pixel Drain. Like, Pixel Drain I haven't had a problem with uploading, but sometimes BitChute takes a lot of process. And that probably won't help when this is going to be, like, 3-hour-long video? Maybe I'll figure something out. But either way, thank you all so... If you've watched this far, thank you all so much for watching this Gintama reaction. Make sure you smash that like button if you enjoyed this. Or just in general, because this was a lot more work for this than I am, like, used to. I'm definitely going to go back to 2 episodes per, like, reaction for Gintama. That's probably going to be my standard. Maybe if there are more special occasions in the future, I'll do something like this again. But if you want to be here for that, if you enjoyed this and you want to be here for that, all future Gintama things, all future Gintama and potentially other things I was mentioning earlier, doing an experimental setup with newer anime that are coming out the spring season. So I lost my train of thought. Subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything, and I'll see you later, Camera.